Three-game road trip, especially with 3 games in 3 nights. It's got to be encouraging to get 4 out of 6 points out of that.
Well, you know what? It's a tough road trip. Especially going into North Bay and the Sioux. They're real good teams, elite level teams in this league. And going into Thursday night up into to North Bay, we knew that they're big, strong. They're a hockey club, and their size. They're almost an American League size team, and they really use it well. For us, I thought the first half of the game we were pretty good. I thought we did a real good job, built up a lead, and then we had a turnover midway through the game that allowed them to tie it, and from that point on they kind of took over. But I thought Jack Flynn was a big reason why we were able to come out of there with 2 points, and yet at the same time our resiliency as a team, we didn't quit. We maybe weren't at our best, but we found a way to do some of the things we needed to do, and certainly in overtime we kind of changed the pace of the game, a couple opportunities, and scored the winning goal. Going into Sudbury, I thought we did what we needed to do, and I thought our guys were focused and locked in and come out and played a very good game from beginning to end. And then, more importantly for me, was the way that we affected our own destiny kind of going into the Sioux. I thought we got off to a great start. I thought we played very well in the first period. We made 2 mistakes. They were both in our net, unfortunately. Come out, and I thought for about half of the second we were flat. We were standing around our end watching, and we had some breakdowns, and they built up a 5-goal lead, but I thought our resiliency really kicked in at that point. We showed our muster. We started to drive back and push back and scored 2 before the end of the period. Then I thought we'd come out in the third and really dominated and played well. And for us, not just to not quit in that game, but the way we started against a rested team and us playing 3-3 on a tough road trip, traveling the day of, and them sitting home waiting for us. I really liked the way we approached that game from beginning to end outside of a half a period.
You kind of just touched on it. It's a 3-3. What's the hardest part of that road trip, especially against a rested team?
Well, I think a lot of times your body will always react to what the signals that you give it. And sometimes for younger players that haven't been through it, they're defeated before they get there. So it's adjusting your mental mindset. It's building a resiliency before you even get into, the tough times, and not allowing yourself to accept excuses, and pushing forward and kind of demanding more of not just yourself but the group and the people around you. And I think that's the biggest thing, is going in there and just, the rested team, that is what it is. You can't change their schedule, you can't change your own. What you can change is your mindset and your attitude. And if you bring your work and you come in here and you got to roll up your sleeves and you're up against it, and you have a mindset where you're never defeated. We talk a lot on our team. We're never out of the fight. We always find a way to get ourselves back into it, and that's a mindset we're trying to develop. It's a work in progress, but that was a great step forward for us.
Now, there were some struggles early in the year with effort and compete level in some of the games, but you said that it seemed like the guys really battled on this road trip. Where do you feel that the team is at right now?
Well, I think for the most part, a lot of I think where we're really starting to see the change in that is in our older players, our leaders. You're starting to see Holden Cook's game come. I thought he was really good on Sunday. Thought he was physical, hard in the tough areas. A part of his game that I think if he can really bring that every night, it's going to affect the outlook from OH or NHL clubs on him, and they want to see him play in those big, heavy, tough games. And I thought he was excellent. And seeing Zach Nastasiak and Chris Bigra come around, Daniel Milne's been great from the beginning, and Kyle Platzer's starting to play in the heavy games now. So you start seeing that, and I think your team starts to follow. And we'd like everybody to be on board. We have a ways to go, but as a group, I think we've moved forward, and we're seeing it from our leadership group, and that's. They're great guys. They've been warriors for us for a few years. They know how we want to play, and there was a little bit of NHL hangover for some of them there, and some of them were a little banged up coming back from camp. And once we kind of got those things under control, you can start to see our team take the steps forward they need to.
Now this weekend we've got another 3-3, but it starts off with the road game against London. Disappointing loss to them early on in the season here. What do you guys have to do to, I guess, get a little bit of revenge on Friday?
Well, I think just as we've just spoke about, we have to come in and establish the pace of game that we want to play. We have to execute our game plan. We've got to be disciplined in that execution, and more importantly, we've got to make sure that we manage the puck intelligently.
This is my home. Been there about 12 years. This is the tree that once shaded my backyard. And here's what happened when a storm blew through our neighborhood. Oh man, what a disaster. Fortunately, my wife knew just who to call. The experts at Balfour. So to recap, my home before the storm, my home after the storm. Or the way I see it, my home before Balfour, my home after Balfour.
Balfour, Your home, your life, our promise.